Hey, what's up? Welcome to Midnight Release, and today we're going to be doing The Invitation, which just came out like August 26th about, and I just was able to watch it in theaters, so I want to give you the most accurate picture of what you're about to watch if you're thinking about going and watching it, or when it comes out in on streaming, if you want to watch that there as well. So let's get straight into the video. Thanks. Okay, so here's my initial thoughts. Altogether, I was actually rather surprised by how good this movie was. And good is the only word I'll give it. It's not great. It was just good and enjoyable. Me and my wife, we actually enjoyed our time there. Because from the commercials and the scores and things I saw beforehand, we did not go into it with much expectations. When we were about to go on a date, I asked her, hey, do you want to go watch The Invitation right now? And we both kind of laughed, like, sure, let's do it. Why not? We'll have fun regardless of how the movie is. But we actually stepped out of it kind of looking at each other like, wow, didn't hate my time. And that's one of the reasons why I want to do Midnight Release, is because I just don't trust these websites, these review sites. Like Rotten Tomatoes, and I feel like they just don't give the best picture of what the people actually feel. And even though I am critical at heart, I feel like I can give a little better thoughts on what the movie is and a better score that you can trust. So let's get into what the people have been saying and kind of the bio for you. So what IMDb wrote is, it's a young woman is courted and swept off her feet only to realize a gothic conspiracy is at foot. And that's pretty accurate to keep this non-spoiler, as that's my plan for this video. It's very... Actually, I'll get into that later. But yeah, she's kind of courted, and she realizes there's a problem at this house with this family. And you can get that from the trailer yourself. And yeah, so IMDb actually gave it a 5.4 out of 10. Pretty low. Rotten Tomatoes gave it a 24%, and Metacritic gave it a 45%. So we're hovering around, I'd say probably 40% for average. I didn't do the math, but around 40 out of 100. And this is what I saw before going to the film. And maybe that did persuade my thinking, but it didn't. It didn't. I'm not gonna say that. But yeah, pretty low. So the weekend box office results. The Invitation tops historically low weekend. It also leads at the summer's box office for the worst weekend. So even though it was the number one movie this weekend, or when it came out, which was last weekend, yeah. It only pulled in $7 million. And I was seeing that this is around the time that's probably the worst time for movies. So, and then with the reviews that we're getting from the main three review sites, we can understand why it kind of got that low. And I can understand it. But yeah, that's pretty much all I could find for this. Okay, let's talk about some of the strengths here. So I kind of want to go straight into what I think is the most important parts of a movie, just to kind of give you understanding. Because I use these factors for our formula to make up our scores. So, in order of what's most important, I think the acting and writing make up the top two factors for most important thing to a film. And that writing is both the dialogue and the arc of the story, and how the story is written. So those two make up the top two. Next up, we got story, which is... Actually, hold on. That was wrong. Writing is the dialogue. There you go. Story is the arc of the story. That one is third most important. Next up, we got score and editing, which are both tied for fifth. And then to round it all out, we can add it factor points to it. So these are the things that I look for in movies and rate them accordingly. So with the strengths of this movie, I did feel like there was good jump scares throughout it. With a decently written story, actually, that was slowly peeling off the story as the movie progressed. And it actually gave me and my wife quite a bit of vibes of Get Out, and it probably also was that it was a black person in a white person's home, and they were all acting a little weird, and that itself was kind of what was giving us the Get Out vibes. If you've seen that movie, a great horror film, if you haven't watched it, I recommend it to everyone. But and then also, yeah, like I was saying, the story was slowly being revealed throughout, trying to make sense of why these people are acting this way. So I thought that was a very good strength of the movie. The acting was actually also done better than I expected, but it was nothing that I wanted to write home about. And like, I'm not gonna bring it up ever again, but the acting was not bad. I thought they casted pretty well for the acting. And Missandei from Game of Thrones is the main actress. I don't know her name, unfortunately. I can find it real quick here. And her name is Nathalie Emmanuel, if that's correct. Yeah, she's the only person I know from this film. But she did pretty good. She acted like a very Gen Z woman. The way she talked, the way she acted, the way she's on her phone, and throughout the film like that. But she wasn't bad. And then the last strength I felt like was they actually made it feel pretty real for how, like the bio says, it's not realistic, right? So, but I felt like they had, I'm not going to give any spoilers, but in around the climax moment where the realization happens with the main protagonist, the way they directed that whole entire scene, I thought was the greatest strength in this movie, because they made it feel so real that she actually, like, this is the way I would feel if I was in her situation. And I feel like a lot of times the greatest detriment to a movie or show is it doesn't feel real. The moment that they're trying to push whatever situation they want to happen without letting the moment resolve in a natural way. And I felt like they were able to show in film and in the film exactly how she would be feeling in that moment. And I thought, very well done. So let's get on to the weaknesses. So there wasn't very much of this, but anytime it's in anything, I hate it, which is the politics of the world. They made it, me and my wife both looked at each other like, okay, please. Which was, she had to make a point about, there was not much in it, but just anything in it will always give me bad taste, because for me, in my movies, I don't want anything of the world in my movie affecting it. I just want whatever the story is, display the story in a very good way, and that's it. That's all that they should be doing. Entertain and blow our minds. With no X factors. So there was just probably 2-3 lines that I didn't like in that sense, that I felt like, okay, this didn't add anything, and she just had to say it. So not much else to say about that, but also, never in the movie did I ever have this feeling of, wow, this is great. There's no oomph feeling like, wow, great stuff. It was very just good, like I said in the beginning. It's just all around good. And then to top it all off with the weaknesses, the last scene was pretty horrible, as I actually feel like is a pretty common thing in horror films, which is, so not the last scene of the arc of the story, but like the added last scene that's not needed. I felt like if they would have cut out that 2-minute scene, I would have ended on a good taste rather than a bad taste. But yeah, that last 2 minutes that they added at the end, like post the excitement, was just not needed and just was not good. Both in the dialogue and what they were going to do. You'll see if you watch it. If you choose to watch it based off my review. Okay, so let's end it all off with my scores here. So I'll bring up the graphic. So we're going to be giving this 0 stars. And our stars are the Michelin star of the entertainment industry, which we only give stars to the best of the best. So we will obviously not be giving this any stars. And then for our score, so throughout this process in the beginning here of Midnight Release, as we've only made about 30 videos, we've been toying a lot with how we want to do the formula. The formula will never change itself and how we rate movies, but how we display it to the people will be changed. And I wanted to try a letter score for this movie and see how this comes out, as the tediousness of trying to give exact numbers in terms of like 86, 87, and then like having to stay exactly accurate with those reviews has been really tedious in my mind and causes me stress. So I wanted to go with a letter scores, which would be the classic S would be the highest, S, A, B, C, D, F. So, and I gave this, I was torn between a C plus and a B minus, but I'm actually going to go with B minus here. Yeah, it was very average. I enjoyed my time, and it had a great moment in there, and then a few good moments of, great jump scares to that realization occurring, which I called, by the way. But yeah, it was a B minus, very close to a C plus. And then for our critical description, it was all around enjoyable, with a moment of great and moments of bad, which is kind of what I've been saying throughout this video. So last up, now that we've given the exact score of midnight release, should you watch this in theaters? The big question. And then I'll also answer, should you just watch it? So if you love horror, like love, like you would say it's one of your top 3 genres, sure, go ahead. I think you will enjoy yourself. If that is not the case, I would say just stay home. Especially if you don't have the money to just go out all the time. Yeah, just stay home. Watch when you get home. If you don't love horror, I would just say don't watch it. Why not? But yeah, if you do even enjoy horror, I would definitely say watch it at home. It's a movie that I think you will enjoy, something to talk about, and did not leave very, very many bad tastes in your mouth. So that's always a positive when that occurs. So yeah, that is pretty much everything I've got on The Invitation, the new film that came out a few days ago. If you like the review, please like and subscribe, and put down your comments on what you think the score should be. And have a wonderful day. Bless you.